Hello! Welcome to the episode. I'm Callum. He's Jamie.
I'm Jamie.
How you doing, everybody? We've got tea. It's a Saturday. So, how are you?
Pretty good.
Doing alright?
Not bad. I mean, it's been full on, but I'm doing alright.
Tip run this morning.
Yes.
What were you getting rid of? Anything interesting?
Wardrobe. Big chunky wardrobe.
Lovely, lucky.
Garbage, man.
I imagine that was
I don't know
super
if we-
enjoyable.
Do we do anti-sponsors? My anti-sponsor would just... Oh.
I didn't hear you then. Your mic cut out. You were too quiet. You need to say it with more anger so I can hear you.
No, I'm not gonna. Let's
okay.
not do an anti-sponsor.
So thank you so much to the
But it was really
anti-sponsor.
bad. It was an awful wardrobe.
Was it not good?
Uh-uh.
I really want to know now. Who was it? Who did it?
What? Wayfair?
I don't know who that is.
Online, man.
I'll avoid. Ours is an
Yeah.
IKEA. It's great. Does exactly
I
what it
wouldn't
needs
complain.
to do.
Exactly.
Does exactly what it needs to do. So,
Yeah.
we've got, for our final episode of season 2, probably the most serious and cutting edge paper that we've read to this date.
Hang on, we did read the same papers, right?
Yeah, to be completely, it's groundbreaking. It's absolutely groundbreaking. I think
At
that,
the time, groundbreaking.
I think that with this, we're going to change podcasting. I think this is going to, open the floodgates to all new genres, and we're really going to pioneer the field. So why don't you give us a little introduction on the paper, Mr. Macmillan?
Of course. The title doesn't even... Alright, today we've got the 1995/6 paper from Oleg McNoidea.
Yep.
Titled-
Really serious name.
Yep. Researcher from Brigadoon University. This is the integration of GIS, remote sensing, expert systems, and adaptive crigging
Krigging.
for environmental habitat modelling of the highland haggis using object-oriented fuzzy logic and neural network techniques.
So, off the bat, so many buzzwords. I'm impressed. So yeah, we're talking about the highland haggis, which up until recently I believed to just be food, but it seems that's actually not the case.
It turns out it's not.
They're mammals, right?
So, have you never come across the highland haggis before in literature?
No, I can't say I have, but my research on Scottish wildlife is limited, shall we say.
Likewise.
It's not my area of specialism.
No. Alright, so what we've... I can't do this. I can't keep this together.
Do you know what? I'm going to try and maintain this for as long as I can. It's very serious.
So, scope of the paper. So, the highland haggis has been added to the WWF list of endangered species following excessive harvesting prior to the Burns Night celebrations in 1904. For those who don't know, WWF stands for Wild and Wacky Furball List.
Does it really? I didn't know that. Interesting.
You didn't read the footnotes. The footnotes for where it's at. I recommend everybody to check this paper. This is a beaut. Where are we? Oh, so it lives in the Highlands of Scotland. There was a note here. So Scotland is, contrary to the desires of many Scots, part of the UK. How well that holds up is delightful. It's distinguished easily from England because it's not full completely of people, and it's distinguished less easily from the surrounding seas because it is marginally less wet.
Yeah. Do you know what? When I was reading this through, I was like, how is this going to work? Are we I don't know what's going to happen. It was a jolly good read, though. And do you know what? I think this might be a first in Osmosiscast. I read the paper and I didn't feel overwhelmed by words.
Nice.
Reading the context of the in-depth formulae later on, I knew
Yeah.
that I could confidently skip over it without missing anything. It was,
Great read.
if anything, one of my favourite ones so far.
Yeah, likewise. I went through this and thought, we just made this episode just us sitting through and reading the paper. I don't know.
I mean, we could. We legitimately could.
And I think I'm gonna be directly quoting this. All right, so a bit more about the Highland haggis. So the Highland haggis it's unique amongst all mammals, and it has a pair of legs, either its left or right, that are shorter than the other
Brackets
pair.
longer.
So brackets longer. So like it could be a bit of a
Slopsided.
bit lopsided. This evolutionary adaptation allows it to walk with ease around very steep mountainous regions that compose its natural habitat. A haggis feeds on native vegetation as it walks around a mountain in either a clockwise or anti-clockwise fashion, depending on its legs' orientation. So picture that. This is a haggis walking around with 4 legs, slopsided, walking around a mountain.
And I imagine he can never change direction, really. My favourite part of this opening is his email. Oleg at .no.never.
That's not a domain I recognise. Every part of this paper is.
It's just
epic.
it is.
But no,
This is like a really high class troll, like internet troll from the 90s, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I don't know when. Could I call this OG trolling? When was trolling like a thing? Got to be in the 90s.
I mean,
Internet forums.
clearly it's in the 90s, but I don't think it became popularized probably until smartphones and Facebook,
Yeah, that's probably right. What, you're saying forums didn't have trolls?
No, they did. I wonder if they were called trolls or if they were just called the dickheads on your ignore list, I don't know if it was as much of a hobby back then, but maybe it was.
Probably not.
Like, I was in '95. I was 2, so I don't know.
Maybe. So you said they probably don't walk in other directions? No, they don't. They have an aversion to walking in any other plane of motion. So they walk around in a circle.
So
That's it.
I'm
That's all they do.
interested. I think this paper requires some follow-up because, is their leg length determined by, directly by their habitat? So, if there's a really big mountain and they're just going to walk around it, or do they live? Because, if we imagine a mountain as a cone, it's going to get narrower at the top. Are there just different subspecies of haggis living near the peak of the mountain?
Maybe.
I think it requires.
A wild haggis animal species.
There
I
isn't.
googled haggis leg length, and I'm looking at a fuzzy furball.
You're kidding.
I think someone's rendered it, or it is actually. It's not real, is it?
I think this is a troll. Okay, it says the haggis, as the tale goes, is a creature of the wild highlands, a beast that roams the heather-clad moors under the watchful gate. I think this is a troll, Jamie. I think we are being trolled from the 90s right now.
Okay, so that's our yeah.
Oh my lord.
So the haggis is it's got funny legs. How about that? So it walks around a circle. What else have we got here?
It does actually say here at the end of that, it says that so it goes clockwise or anti-clockwise depending on its legs, has an aversion to different planes of movements. And it says, and I quote, hence, from birth, each haggis will find a niche that is a traversal around a mountain with a favourable gradient and free from any other haggis. So actually, I guess we're right. It does. They will have their own niche depending on their leg size. I've never felt stupider in my life talking about this, to be honest.
No, you know what though? That does that statement. I hadn't picked up on it before, but that does introduce some challenges though. If it's free from any other haggis, and they don't really get on with each other, you get new haggis.
Well,
Where the baby
maybe
haggis
it's
come
like maybe there's some sort of, like how there are lots of animals in the animal kingdom that live solitary lives and just find each other to mate,
from? Okay.
right? So maybe
Yeah, but they
that's
can't.
they actually
So are
physically
you saying
can't change their
they physically
trajectory.
can't?
Right,
No.
right.
So like, do they live? Do they cohabitat on the same like? What are we calling it? The same location, same height
It
of a
could be
mountain.
like
Their
fish. You
little
know how
niche.
fish just like do their business into the ocean and hope something gets fertilized? It could be similar to
Yeah,
that.
you could do that. You could fertilize down the slope.
So what, all the males are at the top of the mountain just raining down. Oh my flipping neck. Oh my god, you're disgusting. But I think requires more research ultimately.
Requires more research.
Requires more
Yes,
research
I think
ultimately.
so. So what would be really helpful is if we could observe some of these species from remote sensing techniques. That would be. Let's put a pin in that and come back to that.
Pin in it. It says it is a sad consequence that each year many fledgling haggis die whilst attempting to move upslope or downslope to find such a niche, only to topple helplessly sideways and roll down the hill. Then we get a really nice bit of science here. The path taken by a falling haggis is analogous to that of surface water runoff, and a full discussion of this effect is given later in the theory section. Amazing.
Since each haggis walks the same path around a hill for the duration of its life, an effect similar to a contour line becomes etched into
you
the
see
side
that
of the hill.
asterisk there? You see that asterisk there?
Oh yeah.
Read that asterisk down
For
the
the
bottom
duration
of
of
the
its
footnote.
life. Oh! Yes! He answered it!
So they
so
don't
since
just blast down the mountain with their
reproductive material.
reproductive material.
Since each haggis walks the same path around the hill for the duration of its life, asterisk, the only exception is to breed. There we go.
And then it adds, this is an extremely delicate matter. So maybe still more research required. They're obviously they don't like talking about it.
No, that's really good. Good note there. So they make little contour lines around their mountains, and I'm assuming we're going to be able to see that from space. But, why wouldn't you? Oh, there is some evidence of it in the digital chart of the world. They've seen. Yeah, I think they must have etched some of these contour lines into mountains.
So those contour lines that you see on a map are not just man-made, like on the map. They're actually physically part of the
I thought they
geometry
were
of the
pictures.
Earth.
I thought they were just map representation, but
They're not.
I think
They're physically part of the geometry of the planet.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. Moving swiftly on. But I really enjoy the opening of the next paragraph. Traditional fuzzy logic does not cope well with the image data used here. I just love the talking about fuzzy logic. I feel like that describes a lot of my life. I mean, is that? I feel like fuzzy logic could mean many, many things, but you saying that
it's an actual thing.
Is it an actual thing? Enlighten
I think all of these things in this paper are actual things. Fuzzy logic's great.
Right,
Fuzzy
I'm googling
the best. Yeah, no, that's actual stuff. Traditional fuzzy logic isn't great. So, and that's due to the Scotch mist, which is a local weather condition in the Scottish Highlands.
Oh, it is actually a thing. An approach to variable processing that allows for See, this is partially your fault for telling me to gloss over and just go for the narrative. I assumed he was just making words up. I'll read it. An approach to variable processing that allows for multiple possible truth values to be processed through the same variable. Pass that into something that makes sense to me, please.
Nope.
Okay.
But instead, what I can do is I can tell you how I see it on my computer. I can do a search through my history of commands, and I can just start typing random words. And rather than it is it's like cleverer search. Like if I start typing like BOD, then it might split that up, or it might look in various places of like a command line.
Okay. So
It's
like
just like
when you do like a Control
fuzzy.
F.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a better Control F. Like Control F is looking like it's not fuzzy. It's like looking exactly for that pattern.
Okay. I don't really
Fuzzy is
understand,
like
to
I'm
be
looking
honest.
for around that pattern. Neither do I,
That's-
but I
okay.
use it and it seems better. It
But
finds
anyway,
me,
I
like,
mean, fuzzy logic
easier.
doesn't really apply here due to the Scotch mist,
No,
a
it's not
local weather
relevant.
condition that has a direct but complex relationship with altitude, and then there's an asterisk, or was it alcohol? What Professor McNoidea has coined is a new form of uncertainty calculus, misty logic, allowing all noise related to atmospheric distortion and scale effects to be removed from the raw data, enabling them to make out detail hitherto unobservable, to extract complete road and stream networks from satellite images, and to determine fully 3D geological structure from geophysical data. Many words.
Pretty good. That's not bad.
He goes into quite a lot of detail about words later on, but I'm sure we'll get there as we get through the read.
Yeah. So Misty logic is what was it? Is some funky calculus things. Uncertainty calculus. Oh,
Your favourite bit of maths?
I love that. Yeah, I love that. We also explore different types of satellite and radar images, and so there's a good depiction. So can we head to figure 1?
We can head to figure 1. So really wonderfully detailed image.
Yep.
Figure 1.
So
So here
what we
we've
can
got
see in
some
1A.
satellite images.
Yep, that's an image of a satellite, and we can also see a radar image. So those give you examples of different images that, or other different systems that can do remote sensing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've got the satellite imagery, radar imagery,
Yep.
lots of real high tech. And remember, this is the 90s, and like this sort of stuff is still cutting edge to this day. You know, like this field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing, really amazing.
Still
stuff.
developing. And I'm
Still developing.
I can't do the next section. Sections it's
Why is that?
Actually, no, I can do the next one.
A new approach
the one
to
after.
data integration.
Yeah, that one's alright. What have we got? Oh, we got a neural network. It's not just the same bloody buzzword.
It is.
It's so good.
Many buzzwords.
So, as an alternative to neural network data analysis, Oleg has explored a variant where a network. Okay, so try and follow me here. So the variant that he's constructed it's specialized to a directed graph. So if you can consider like two lines depicting two axes of
Are you just
variables.
Are you just describing a graph there?
containing only two inputs. So you have an input node and an output node. So you could think of this as like your x that might go into a formula and the return value for that. So y. And then there's a list. So this list that you produce, it usually is producing the same outcome as a neural network, except it executes in linear time and does not require any of that messy fiddling about with a hidden layer. So yeah, that's their new variant to data analysis, an ordered structured list of input and output variables.
Do you know what? I think I must have not really understood what he was going on about there. Because I didn't realise he was just describing a graph. Oh dear. And that's McNoidea 1995, guys. This is my favourite part. So we'll get to Fig 2 in a minute. I'll just read. It says, the huge volumes of data required for this exercise have led to the development of a new form of hierarchical data structure, the polymorphic I don't know how to say that word. It starts with an E. Do you know how to say that word? Polymorphic Euclidean adaptive region tree, the pear tree. The pear tree can store all the 200 gigabytes of data used here in less than 640k, allowing the software to run on all PC-type computers. For example, ridges are extracted from the digital elevation model (DEM), hierarchically decomposed and inserted into the pear tree as a series of fragments, generally known as parts. Figure 2 shows a part ridge in a pear tree. Oxford 1903. Christmas joke? Like it? Like it?
The setup there is obscene. Did you note the footer in this one?
The footnote.
So figure 2 shows a partridge. Footnote. The earlier prototype actually shows a pigeon with an aspect ratio of 4:3 and a deftly edited tail.
It is hoped that future versions will be completely generalizable to all birds beginning with the letter P. It's just stupid, this, isn't it? I love it, but it's just stupid.
Right, so
I feel like I needed this on a Saturday morning, though. I slept like crap yesterday, and let me tell you, I was grumpy this morning. I was grumpy. So this, happy to be here.
Delightful. So we've outlined some new concepts that Oleg McNoidea is bringing along for the ride here.
I don't understand why this isn't more mainstream, this level of research. Like,
I don't know.
Here was me thinking Higgs would be like a little bit mainstream. I think this is really where it's at. I think if I showed this to my kids at school, they might actually care.
They might.
They might really want to write some papers, you know?
Exactly. I've come to learn since Higgs, no one knows.
Really? Have you been researching a little bit?
Yeah, I've done some outreach.
Maybe I am just absolutely cooked, mate. Maybe I give the general public too much. I wonder if I give the general public just too much credit. I think that people are smarter than they are.
Look, if any listeners do know the Higgs, tell us, please.
But I feel like if you're listening to a podcast about science, surely you must have. But and I'm worried right now that I might be coming across like a really sort of entitled person. But genuinely, there must I must be the stupid one here with like a blind spot if I think it's more common than it is, right?
Maybe.
I don't mean to be offensive, guys. I'm just trying to exist on the planet, find my own niche like a haggis. I would probably, do you know what? If I could just have a particular elevation of a mountain and walk around it all day, I'd be very happy.
Sorted. Yep.
No pressures. Just got to make sure you don't fall down.
Eat a bit of wet grass. Yep. Perfect.
Obviously, it gets a bit complicated at mating season, but sensitive, delicate. So we won't talk about that. Talk to me about the methods, James.
All right, so we've introduced some new methods. If we hop back to the purpose of this, so the highland haggis is endangered. It's on the WWF list.
So endangered, no one's seen it.
So the method that we're going to use here is they are going to model the path of each haggis as a combination of environmental, spectral, spatial, economic, temporal, taxonomic, and astrologic data in the following way.
Amazing.
So first,
Figure 3 is Scotland.
Yeah, so that's Scotland, is it?
Yeah, figure 3 is Scotland.
Figure 3 is Scotland, but there's figure 4 is. But we'll get there.
But I don't get the joke here, so you're gonna have to enlighten me. By the way, I was looking at these pictures like. I think I get it, but maybe I just don't think it's that funny. I just think it's a bit silly.
Yes, it's definitely pulling on some stereotypes here. So, firstly, it's known that haggis can only survive in extremely wet conditions, requiring a substantial rainfall on at least 350 days a year. They like it wet. So, as part of the method, they evaluated a rainfall map for Scotland. So, they coloured in areas on the map where there was sufficient rainfall. And so we can see figure 3. If you head to figure 3, that's your map of Scotland. And when they did a Venn, if you think like a Venn overlap, so if I find all the pieces where they're coloured in on both, there is a map of Scotland and it's wet, the resulting overlap is figure 4. So that is everywhere in Scotland that is sufficiently wet.
So the joke here is it rains in Scotland, isn't it? Yeah.
So
I did get it. I just thought it was a bit silly. I mean, right, this is maybe a good time. I've never been to Scotland, have you?
Yeah, a few times.
I've never been.
It's been a lovely time.
I would love to go. It looks stunning. It looks absolutely stunning, and all my favourite comedians are Scottish, so I feel like maybe they've got a really good sense of humours up there.
You'd have a great time. I think you'd love it.
Maybe we have to go to Scotland one day.
Edinburgh, Glasgow, or everywhere else?
I'd really like to go to Edinburgh. I think it's really pretty, and I've seen pictures.
Got to hit it for the Fringe?
That would be fun. Let's go.
That's good.
Get on the road.
So there's
Scotland
some stuff about
wet.
adaptive co-cridging, but I don't know what that is all about. Oh, yeah, that's what it's all about. So that's the elevation. So they have elevation data of mountainous regions because you're trying to understand where those haggis live, haggai. And so they used adaptive co-cridging, and they noted since this sounds incredibly impressive in the title of the paper, and it's been shown to have a subtle positive influence on the reviewer. So they just added it.
Though not as subtle and positive as favourably referencing their work in the footnote.
This one got me. This one really tickled me. It hit too hard.
It is good.
Oh, yes.
It says,
Yes.
thirdly, regions of suitable gradient are combined using a set of expert rules with candidate haggis tracks, extracted from the DCW land cover data using MISTY logic at a scale of 1 to 1 million. I don't know what he's talking about at this point. Oh no, this is the bit I liked. Read it.
The expert system is used here to bolster up the number of current buzzwords in the title of the paper. Do you want to segue into buzzwords, Callum?
I was going to do the footnote.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. The greater the number of buzzwords in the title, the greater the chances of a paper acceptance, as shown by McNoidea's postulate. And then there's a formula. You can go through the formula. That's your remit, mate.
The sum of the product of both the ith buzzword and the measure of trendiness is proportional to the probability of acceptance.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that, really. I feel like that's still accurate today. Buzzwords get wins. I mean, I see it all the time. I imagine you do it at work as well. Yeah, there's always a flavour of the month buzzword that you need to be thinking about.
Oh, yes. Yep. So we've got buzzwords coming along for the ride to increase the probability of acceptance. Like most expert systems, it contained about half a dozen rules that could have easily been coded with a case statement in Pascal. But the title would look a good deal less impressive as a result.
And the title is impressive, to be fair. The title is very impressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would say there's at least 10 buzzwords in the title.
I didn't count them. Is that what you were doing?
That's what I was just doing when I was counting. Sorry. So now we get onto the maths. This is your remit, isn't it? Carry on. Right.
Okay. Yes. So the theory here it's become customary for papers to contain copious quantities of
gratuitous mathematics.
My God, words. The rationale being that even the most straightforward or outrageous of ideas can look credible if expressed using enough complex symbology. I mean,
accurate.
We cannot disagree.
Can't argue.
That holds.
It's so true. It's so true.
So, I think this is where we head back to the runoff water. So, in addition to searching for haggis grazing contours, it's possible to also locate haggis habitats from geophysical data sources. So, as mentioned earlier, haggis may lose their footing, and when they roll down a hillside of length S, the steepness of the slope combined with the heavy weight, M0, of a well-fed, sodden haggis at rest can lead to a rotational velocity approaching relativistic speed.
I love this next sentence. The beast acquires total kinetic energy T. The beast! Why they gotta do the poor little guy like that? The beast.
The beast.
I love this.
It approaches infinity, and then it gives an equation. Do you recognise the equation, Callum?
I didn't look at it. I took your advice very literally, and I just didn't look at it. I understood the words though.
What we can see here is the derivation of E equals mc squared.
Yes, and I understood that on the next bit where it says, now, since maths, then as V approaches C, so M becomes infinity. The resulting increase in mass causes the path taken by the haggis to be visible as an extremely bright, localized streak in perhaps 1 or 2 gravitational anomaly maps, and can be identified easily using image differencing.
Yep.
This footnote is probably the most bizarre, I think, because it just says about 1 map every half a second on a grid size of 10 square meters gives sufficient sampling. That's almost like useful information. Like if you were trying to repeat it, that's not trolling.
That's probably the least trolling footnote.
It is. But but it's almost the most trolling because it feels so out of place.
Okay. Big picture again. Haggis endangered. We've got buzzword methods for data analysis.
Many methods.
We've described how we're going to look at our maps and how we're going to survey for the haggis. Callum, do you want to take us through the results?
Absolutely. So really, really short and sweet results in this paper. And needs more research. It says, despite all the sophisticated analyses applied, no haggis tracks were detected at all. Clearly, it's more endangered than we first thought. I find that really sad. that this beast is
hurtling at relativistic speeds.
Yeah, and it can't be found at all. It's sad.
Most as this. Oh, this is obscene. Yeah, so there are no results. That was it. I mean, you really should have more of this in papers. Non-papers are still helpful.
Future work. It is hoped that the author will secure a large research grant to allow a full ground survey to be carried out. Me too. I'd like a large research grant to carry this out.
More of this, please.
This will enable an assessment of the quality of the model described here. The fact that there is a high correlation between whiskey distilleries and known haggis sightings suggests some likely centres from which to base the fieldwork. The author intends to adapt these techniques with the addition of qualitative spatial reasoning, see Appendix 1, to apply them to further habitat models for the Yeti, the Loch Ness Monster, and the Australian bunyip. I mean, this was written in 1995, right? I don't know how PC it is these days to say, to talk about Scots whiskey distilleries and seeing beasts all in the same sentence. I feel like that might get someone cancelled in 2024.
Quite possibly.
But it's not my words. We're just reading a paper. No. Not my words.
Yeah, just reading. Echo.
And actually, to be fair, he addresses that in the author's note. No insult or slight is intended by the author towards any particular persons, especially Scots. And then I quite like the last line. This paper was inspired by a memorable, if somewhat damp, trip to Scotland for the Spatial Data Handling Conference in 1994. End of paper.
Perfect. End of paper. Oh, we've got, there are a couple of geospatial keywords and their trendiness. So what do you think is the most trendy keyword, Callum? I mean, you can just read it, but...
Where am I looking? Oh, the appendix at the end.
Appendix 1.
Hang on, I didn't even look at this, mate. Little table. So which do I haven't looked at the scores yet. Which do I think is the trendiness? I mean, Ooh.
Okay, so what we've got here, we've got object-orientated approach, we've got Kriging, Fortran, qualitative spatial reasoning, digital elevation model, quadtree. This is all so niche to geospatial.
It really is.
Non-spatial statistics and spatial uncertainty. What's the hot thing?
I think spatial uncertainty sounds pretty trendy.
It's pretty hot. That's pretty hot.
That is pretty hot.
Second hottest.
Second hottest. The most hottest is qualitative spatial
It's
reasoning. I don't know what any of these things mean, by the way.
Neither do I. Neither do I, Ben.
Okay.
I know what Fortran is.
Do you?
What's untrendy? Yeah, it's a programming language.
What is untrendy?
Non-spatial or conventional statistics.
I mean, understandable.
So
Conventional statistics is still non-trendy to this day, I think, especially in school.
Been around for an age.
We're like, boo, stats. I quite like a bit of statistics, though. I did a really great little bit of statistics work the other day. I think you'll get a kick out of this anecdote. So
tell me about it.
I've been playing loads of World of Warcraft because the War Within came out, right? So I said to myself, I won't get invested, but I got invested. I'm doing the raid, and I've started looking at my logs, which is basically just data, right? And the other day I managed to filter the data just perfectly to show that I was the best warrior in the raid by item level. And I was like, yeah. It took a little bit of finagling with the numbers and a smart way of showing the data, but we got there. So we take those. Love a bit of statistics like that. Yeah.
Guys, well, good job.
Yeah, it was good. It's been super, super fun.
Good effort.
So back to the paper. We have just read this to you, listeners and watchers. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do we have any final thoughts from this? Excuse me. Totally serious research.
Definitely serious research. I've got no final thoughts in terms of like what we're chatting about today, but my time reading this paper, delightful.
It was really
fun.
I
had a great time.
It was really fun. I had a lot of fun as well.
It tickled me.
My final thoughts is just like, I think there needs to be more trolling like this.
Absolutely.
And I think we should do more papers like this. Just trolls.
Yeah, all right.
But although I do really enjoy the proper science as well. This is just nice. It's just chill. It's a Saturday
breath
morning.
of fresh air.
Happy days.
Excellent.
Partridge in a pear tree. Bish bash bosh. Some really high quality, well explained trolls in this paper.
Oh yes, well reasoned.
Yeah, very good.
Spatial reasoning.
Very, very
nice. Good. This was excellent. Thank you very much, Callum.
Thank you.
What are we doing now? This is the end of the season.
This is the end of the season, so we will take a short break. Jamie and I have thrown around ideas of like 1 month, 2 months. I don't think it's set in stone yet how long that break will be.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out and let people know. We will, however, be having a very special, very secret guest episode coming up soon. So watch this space. I anticipate that it will drop sometime in October. Once
that's probably reasonable.
We have finished finalising the recordings and things like that. But we're very, very excited to share it with you guys. The guest that we have on is a wonderful human being, someone who I know very well. So it will be really, really exciting to get to speak to them in front of you guys. But yeah, we will see you again properly when we start season 3.
Nice.
So
what's season 3 going to have?
Well,
any tidbits you got, Callum?
Well, I don't have the document opened with tidbits for season 3 because you didn't tell me to open it. So why don't you start?
What do we know? We know we're going to talk about some mantis shrimp.
Yes. And we wanted to do cups of tea, didn't we? So we really
I can't do a cup of tea.
Yeah, we can't find a tea paper.
Do a cup of tea.
We can't find a proper tea paper, so we wanted to. We were hoping we were going to find some sort of funny paper about making the perfect cup of tea.
I couldn't find it.
No, I don't think it exists.
We can make it up.
We're going to do it. And actually, I was thinking about this. Maybe. So at school, I don't know what we did last year, but we ended up doing a tea making competition, and the kids made me sit down and drink tea and rate it on like out like many categories. So I will do
that-
that at
that's
school.
what we need. That's what we need.
I will take the data, and Jamie and I will co-write a paper about tea.
Let's write it.
It's going to be amazing.
Show it up on the archive.
Yeah,
Make it
it's
happen.
going to be brilliant.
All right.
We can't wait.
Nice.
And then in 20 years'
Cool.
time, there are going to be two 30-something guys talking about our paper, like we've just talked about McNoideas.
Perfect. Nice. Excellent. Thank you very much, Cam.
I think we're done.
That's it.
That's it. Well, thank you very much, everyone. See you later. Look after
Have a great
yourselves.
day.
Stay safe.
Oh, where can you find us? It doesn't matter. We're not going to be around anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
It's the
Bye.